Did you know? In military aviation history, there was a fighter jet that France once pinned great hopes on, touted as capable of going toe-to-toe with America's F-15 Eagle. Yet it ultimately ended its development after just one prototype was built, quietly consigned to a museum. This was Dassault's Mirage 4000 heavy fighter. Even more intriguing is why a nation like China, which later experienced economic takeoff and abundant military funding, didn't purchase this high-performance fighter, opting instead for alternative development paths. Today, we delve into this forgotten chapter to explore the Mirage 4000's glory and regrets, uncovering the great power rivalries and strategic choices hidden behind its story. At the Le Bourget Museum in Paris, the delta-winged Mirage 4000 prototype stands silently in the exhibition hall. Its fuselage is sleek and imposing, while the twin-engine side-by-side layout exudes an undeniable sense of power. As Dassault Aviation's flagship heavy air superiority fighter developed in the 1970s, the Mirage 4000 first took flight in 1979 and completed its final test flight in 1988. Over its brief 9-year flight program, it logged 336 test flights. Its performance figures were impressive: a maximum level flight speed of Mach 2.3, a maximum takeoff weight of approximately 32 tons, and a range exceeding 2,000 kilometers. Combined with advanced avionics and maneuverability design, it was once compared to the American F-15 and Soviet Su-27, even hailed as the guardian of European skies. Yet this seemingly perfect fighter never entered mass production, ultimately existing only as a solitary prototype, a historical relic. This raises profound questions. What caused the Mirage 4000 to fall from grace? And why did China, a nation that later invested heavily in defense modernization, show no interest in acquiring it when the opportunity arose? To answer these questions, we must trace France's defense strategy, gradually unraveling this mystery. In 1966, France made a decision that shocked the world, withdrawing from NATO's military integration structure. This move demonstrated President Charles de Gaulle's determination to pursue defense independence for France, but it also posed a severe challenge. In the event of conflict, France could no longer rely on US air support, and would have to defend its airspace entirely on its own. At the time, the arms race between the US and Soviet blocs was in full swing. Third-generation fighters like the American F-15 and F-16, and the Soviet Su-27, were emerging, renowned for their heavyweight, multi-role capabilities, and high performance. Meanwhile, the French Air Force's mainstay remained the lightweight Mirage III, lacking a heavyweight fighter capable of directly countering these adversaries. This gap placed immense pressure on the French military, prompting them to actively explore paths of both collaboration and independent development. Initially, France attempted to partner with the United Kingdom, West Germany, and Italy to jointly develop the Tornado fighter. This aircraft specialized in low-altitude penetration and excelled in ground attack capabilities, but its air superiority performance was relatively weak, failing to meet France's requirements for a dominant air superiority fighter. Concurrently, Dassault experimented with variable sweep wing technology through the Mirage G8 project, intended to replace the aging Mirage III. Unfortunately, the Mirage G8 performed poorly in dogfights, and soaring development costs ultimately led to its shelving. This series of setbacks made France realize that achieving true defense autonomy required developing its own heavy fighter. Thus, the concept for the Mirage 4000 was born. By the 1970s, the French military formally proposed a dual fighter program. One was the lightweight Mirage 2000, inspired by the American F-16, emphasizing multi-role capability and cost-effectiveness. The other being the heavyweight Mirage 4000, positioned as a pure air superiority fighter directly targeting the F-15. To manage risks and costs, Dassault cleverly adopted a scaling strategy. The Mirage 4000 largely retained the Mirage 2000's M53 turbofan engine, avionics, and weapons configuration, but significantly increased its dimensions. Specifically, its fuselage length increased by 20%, wingspan expanded by 33%, and wing area surged by 80%. This boosts its maximum takeoff weight to nearly double that of the Mirage 2000, elevating it into the heavy fighter category. In terms of design, the Phantom 4000 boasts several innovations. Fixed canards added to both sides of the fuselage effectively improve airflow during high angle of attack flight, enhancing maneuverability. The pilot's cockpit features a bubble design offering exceptional visibility, ideal for close-range dogfights. The airframe extensively utilizes carbon fiber and boron fiber composite materials, reducing weight while increasing strength. Moreover, its fuel capacity is remarkable. The combination of internal and wing tanks extends its range to 2,000 kilometers, surpassing the Mirage 2000 by 500 kilometers. Coupled with aerial refueling capability, the Mirage 4000 can execute long-range air superiority missions and diverse ground attack tasks. Powered by twin M53 engines delivering formidable thrust, its acceleration and climb performance rank among the best in its class. The avionics system has been upgraded to the RD Impulse Doppler radar, offering extended detection ranges and further bolstering its air combat capabilities. On paper, the Mirage 4000 appears nearly flawless, but reality proved far harsher. The Mirage 4000's path to mass production was fraught with obstacles. The primary issue was funding. The French Air Force's budget was already strained. The procurement and deployment of the Mirage 2000 had stretched resources thin. Compounding this, funds needed to be reserved for the future development of the Rafale fighter. Ultimately, the military decided against purchasing the Mirage 4000. Simply put, France couldn't afford such an expensive toy. Dassault then turned its hopes to the export market, particularly the oil-rich nations of the Middle East. Iraq had shown keen interest in the Mirage 4000, as it desperately needed advanced fighters to counter Iran during the Iran-Iraq War. However, the war's toll left Iraq's finances strained, and the order ultimately fell through. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia also considered the Mirage 4000. But after the US eased export restrictions on the F-15, Saudi Arabia decisively opted for the more mature and politically secure F-15. This series of export failures completely dashed the Mirage 4000's prospects for mass production. So why didn't China purchase the Mirage 4000? It's important to note that China's economy grew steadily after reform and opening up, especially in the late 1980s and early 1990s, when military spending began to increase and the demand for procuring advanced weapons abroad also rose. However, the Mirage 4000's active service period was primarily from 1979 to 1988, a time when China was just beginning its defense modernization efforts. First, from a strategic perspective, the backbone of the Chinese Air Force at the time consisted of second-generation fighters like the J-6 and J-7, which urgently needed upgrading. However, the preference leaned toward multi-role fighters with manageable costs. While the Mirage 4000 was a pure air superiority heavy fighter with outstanding performance, its high price tag and narrow focus on air dominance likely conflicted with China's procurement principle prioritizing cost-effectiveness. China in the 1980s prioritized integrated air defense and ground attack capabilities, a focus reflected in its later acquisition of the Su-27 series. The Su-27, while also heavy, balanced air combat and ground attack capabilities. Moreover, following the Soviet Union's dissolution, Russia was willing to offer technology transfers, making it a more attractive option for China. Secondly, political factors cannot be overlooked. Although Sino-French relations improved in the 1980s, France's arms exports were likely constrained by Western Bloc restrictions, particularly regarding sensitive technologies. China prioritized defense self-reliance, fearing that reliance on foreign purchases would constrain the development of its domestic aviation industry. In fact, China was then fully committed to advancing the J-10 project, influenced by the Israeli Lion fighter. This aircraft emphasized multi-role capabilities and independent intellectual property rights. Introducing the Mirage 4000 could have disrupted the J-10's development schedule, and France might not have been willing to transfer core technologies. Though the Mirage 4000 never entered mass production, it was far from a failure. During its development, Dassault accumulated invaluable experience in heavy fighter design, the use of composite materials, optimization of canard wing configurations, and innovations in extended-range fuel tanks were later seamlessly integrated into the Rafale fighter. The Rafale's status as the French Air Force's flagship today owes much to the technological foundation laid by the Mirage 4000. From this perspective, the Mirage 4000 stands as a silent pioneer, whose sacrifice paved the way for subsequent achievements. Reflecting on this history reveals that the success or failure of military equipment hinges not only on performance but also on national strength, market timing, and the international landscape. The story of the Mirage 4000 reminds us that the path to independent national defense is fraught with challenges,